Hey everyone, today I want to talk about, and I know it looks a little weird because I'm moving and I don't have the backdrop behind me, but my new office is going to look hopefully really cool. Been thinking about how we kind of want to set that up. Very excited about that. But I want to talk about how I've worked on and will continue to work on for the remainder of my life to be a better problem solver. And not in the sense of OCD, how to wear discomfort, how to do things that most people are unwilling to do, and why it's important to not hold that against other people, because that's a lot of conditional acceptance that comes from that. I'm going to work on this in order to prove you wrong. That can be a good motivating factor and can instill good discipline, but it will actually not bring any sort of long-term contentment for most people because of the sense that you're always trying to compete in an unhealthy way. And there is that cliche statement, you're competing against yourself, but even that can be used incorrectly because you're using that to down yourself and call yourself an idiot and self-beratement, and that's not good either. So before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button down below, let me know what you think about this video. Today was a great reason to do this, so I'll tell you why in the next kind of coming up week or two. So I think we have to go back to the very beginning, okay? Got my coffee with me. For the majority of my life, I handled problems very poorly. Now, I could have easily went down the ADHD route, the impulsive route, but I said to myself, I'm just going to work on what I can work on. And if I have a higher propensity to being impulsive with the ADHD, then that's the way it is. And I never think about that. It's important to state that because people have always asked me, not always, but lately, since I've been talking about this more, since there's so many people that come in with ADHD and it's so overly diagnosed, not nearly as many people have ADHD. I mean, now it's like 1 in 30 or something, it's the same thing like autism. It's the rates went from 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 34. I mean, it just does. I don't know if that statistic is accurate. No matter what any doctor will tell me. I don't know. And that's a totally different conversation. So when any time I wanted to solve something that I wanted to solve, I was hyper-focused on, that wasn't a problem. I was going to get that done. When I was in grad school, it was quarters, 13 quarters. Quarter 9 was the tough quarter because you were in clinic and you were still in school full time. So I said to myself, I'm going to the gym at 3:50 in the morning. So I wanted that goal to happen. So I made that happen at the detriment of my mental health. So that wasn't the healthiest option, but it was an option. But anytime I was faced with a decision that was outside what I thought was supposed to, keyword supposed to happen in my life, I froze, I complained, I got angry, I got emotional, I yelled, I screamed, I blamed. I did every single unhealthy attribute that you could find. And the biggest myth out there is that there are set personality traits. I don't even look at personality traits anymore. I think most things can be improved upon to a degree. I'm not going to be able to dunk a basketball, but I could potentially work on my skills of dunking. I know it's a physical attribute, but it's very similar when it comes to personality traits. And yes, there are limitations by intelligence, IQ, etc., genes, biology. We understand that. But for the majority, it's not what we think. So I wanted to get better at that particular thing. So what did I start doing? I started reading books and tons of books. I read my first book in 2017 ever. It might have been 2016. No, it was 2017. Think and Grow Rich, which I've now read multiple times, and other books by Napoleon Hill. And that kind of spread me into reading multiple books. I basically always, I did want to read this by Donald Robertson, who did, I think, I'm forgetting the word, is it bibliography? I think it's bibliography, right? That's the word that's used when they talk about doing it on someone else. Yes, it has to be. I don't know why I'm blanking on that. Anyway, then I have this one, which I'm reading now, Charles Duhigg, which he wrote The Power of Habit. And I just started reading, and I started reading a lot, and I always keep How to Stubbornly Refuse. And reading opened up my mind to other things. It helped me formulate my thought process better and my belief systems, a mixture of the typical tools that we talk about and other concepts. And it helped with my vocabulary. It helped slow me down. It helped me realize that if I wanted to get better at solving problems, I had to think beyond myself and I had to wear discomfort. Now, we have to be careful because everyone's going to be telling you 1,000 different things about how to live your life. We do this, right? We're all victim to this in some way. Human beings have particular belief systems and behaviors that they become biased to. That was another goal in my life, to be unbiased by my beliefs and my behaviors and just recommend to people if they come to me for help. I no longer offer unsolicited advice because it just doesn't work. I had a guy come up to me at the gym. I've known him for a long time. Top power lifter in the 80s and 90s. Of anyone who likes to powerlift, he totaled 10 times his body weight at 181, kind of like Russell Orey today, or very close to it. He might have been in the 197. Anyway, he's a freak. And he came up to me and he's like, hey, can I give you some pointers on stiff-legged deadlifts with internal rotation? And I thought, absolutely. Most people would not have taken that well. But he knew me, and I don't do that stuff anymore because I don't see a need. It's similar to when I don't have talks on politics, money, or religion outside the one-to-ones. If someone's a Christian and they ask me if I'm Christian, I just say yes. If someone is an atheist, I say yes. I don't, because I have the cross on my arm right here, which I got when I was younger. And this is the myth surrounding a lot of the stuff that, say, Ryan Holiday does, where Ryan Holiday and Jordan Peterson talk about honesty being the best policy. Your whole goal in life, my whole goal in life, is to advance my life and the people I'm helping and care about. Me having a random conversation about politics with someone, I'd rather lie and agree. Now, people go, that's not integrity. Integrity is not a real thing. It's completely made up concept. You can be integrity driven in multiple different scenarios without it needing to be fixed in all scenarios. So you got to be careful with that stuff. That's why I'm so on the fence with Ryan Holiday. And I've read 3 of his books now, coming up on the 4th. And I think he's terrific. He's brought Stoicism out of the light. Same thing with Donald Robertson, and another Stoic book. The problem is the tools used incorrectly can be very conditional. And that's why I try my best to see everything from everyone's point of view. That was a little off topic, but it is very important to talk about how I handle problem solving. Because you're going to be faced with many different things pulling you in different directions for the majority of your life. And you can engage in what people like to call selfless, integrity-driven conversations, which in my opinion, I call a waste of fucking time. But that doesn't mean I don't engage in them. It just means that I would rather just white lie my way out of it because there's no need. Or, hey, have you tried that before? Yeah, sure, yeah. There just isn't a need to do that. And then because people are so afraid of not being integrity driven, and this goes all into how you handle problems. Everything I'm talking right now is my ever-growing philosophy. I'll give you an example. I have a very busy schedule, okay, as many of us do. With all the coaching that we do, all the content I make, daily, day-in content, all the things happening in my life, the business with my wife, being in a relationship, going to the gym in the morning, trying to balance other things in my life, but I dedicate a lot of my time to other things. So I have to know what is more than likely going to be a worthwhile conversation or problem-solving skill versus other things in my life. That means there will be a moderate amount of white lying where, it's interesting. If I was having a conversation with, say, Jordan Peterson, which I don't think we would agree on this at all, totally fine. He might say, you should be shameful of yourself. And I would say, you're more angry than I am at the fact that I'm telling white lies to weasel my way out of conversations that don't push me forward in life. And you're more angry about that than I am, which is an interesting take on that particular philosophy. And that's kind of how I see my life. I don't need Peterson, Ryan Holiday, or any of these other people who I'll probably never speak to tell me about why I'm living the way I live my life is incorrect, which is what most of these individuals do. Now, we're doing this from the perspective of OCD. This is a very niche thing. So, it would be like if you go to a teacher and you say, how do I pass math? They say you have to get a C or above. They're telling you how to live your life, but they're also telling you something that's necessary. So I make my bed every day. When Jordan Peterson tells people that making your bed is very important, it's not really that important, but it can add together. I do think it's important, but I think there's plenty of people who don't make their bed and they have a lot of other things going for them in their lives. So, but not everything operates in a vacuum. Like I always say, 10 murder cases will have 10 due processes. Comparing the OJ murder to this murder and that murder makes no sense. It's due process for a reason. So comparing us telling people what to do with OCD is very different than telling people such as, Ryan Holiday that made a post that said along the lines, hey, instead of going on vacations, why don't you find a reason to not hate your life? Something very ridiculous that doesn't make a lot of sense. Just because you go on vacations doesn't mean you hate your life. So but the problem is the reason why a lot of the content that we do per se isn't maybe followed by the masses per se right now is because it's not catchy or glorious or sexual or flashy or any of those words that people want. It's just basically as close to our perception of the truth that you can get. Perception number one, the world is not fair. It's not universal fair. It doesn't owe you anything. Kids die of cancer every single day. Quite easy to break down. It's not fair that I got, in my opinion, chronic OCD and it really destroyed my life. Many aspects of my life didn't destroy my life because I'd be dead. But I really thought like that. Now I realize I'm very blessed to have gone through OCD recovery because it's made me into a much better behavioral and thinking individual. So all this philosophy I'm talking about right now is how I learn to solve problems in my life. So I'll give you an example. Every day I have a sticky note on my desk. Say it's a Saturday, it has my must-dos and my like-dos. So I've already done a bunch of the things I have to do on Saturdays. But today was an interesting day. My landlord wanted to show the home. She was showing the home at 10:30, 11:30, and 12, but she didn't even show up for the first two. I used to get mad about that. It is what it is. I got to enjoy some time in my car. Positives in many situations. Brought my dogs with me. I had to do a couple one-on-ones in the car. Thank you to the both of you who allowed me to do that. That was very, very nice of you. And I had to move one of my new one-on-ones because I didn't want to do it. Then I had to come home. I have to make this video, do my clothes, 2 more calls, and then spend some time with Erica, plus with reading and other things I want to do. Plus, we're still moving stuff out of the house. My ability to solve those problems in a calm, collect, cool manner puts me in a place that will make me more money, make me a better husband, put me in a situation to keep out of dramatic. I'll give you an example, right? If I weighed the pros and cons of being Jordan Peterson, he's just a good person to use because many people know who he is. He is a very hardworking individual and he's extremely intelligent, and I look up to him in many ways. But I don't know if the life that he has, we've probably all seen that video, or many of us, where he talks about how much money he makes a month. If you ask me right now, I was going to make $600,000 a month, but I had to be on a plane every single day and I had to deal with that type of confrontation, I wouldn't take it. At least not right now. I would think about that, but that's a decision I made by looking at pros and cons. But $600,000 a month is a lot of money. If he makes more than that now, whatever, let's say it's just make a flat $10 million. You make $10 million for 5 years in a row, you make a lot of money, you can kind of come down a little bit, not be so much in the limelight. There's these pros and cons that you have to weigh. Okay, weighted decision making by Ray Dalio is a great way to go about your life. And I get this wrong a lot. There's always things I get wrong or I thought I was right about and then I was wrong about, and I had to redirect my focus and go forward. And I think being organized, keeping my productivity very high, learning from my mistakes, being open-minded, telling people when I make mistakes and I'm wrong. I personally think that's a very bad trait. Never admitting when you're wrong is a trait I think that is doing yourself a major disservice. It's not because you have to tell other people from a conditional standpoint. I like doing it for myself because it helps build me in the momentum to move in the right direction. There's a lot of people that don't say sorry or apologize to anyone. There's nothing inherently wrong with that, but there more than likely is a little bit more cons with that than pros, in my perception. So, and when I'm faced with moment-to-moment difficulties, waking up in the morning, having to get up a little bit earlier. Some days I have to wake up at 4 versus 5. Sometimes I have to stay up a little bit later doing patient notes. I don't look for anything except for looking at motivation like building a squat, a deadlift, or a bench in the gym. I just do the exercise and I train it hard and I train it to failure in many ways, to where I'm tired, where I may be burned out, or maybe I don't take enough time for myself, but then I recollect and I go forward. I don't tell that many people about my progress anymore because I realized that I was just doing that to get people's attention, which is a natural thing. Many people want other people to praise them because it makes them feel a certain way as they're moving in a certain direction. That's how I handle problems. I hope you enjoyed this video. Every single day I'm faced with things. I'll give you another great example. Starting tonight, America's time zone changes. We go up an hour. The rest of the world doesn't for 3 weeks. So that means I have 21 days of all my UK calls being pushed an hour forward. And it blends, so a lot of like calls will just be like this. Now I have to message people. These are just things, this isn't hard work. It's just methodical, day in, day out annoyances that good business owners and leaders and moms and dads and contractors and W-2 employees, if you want to be good at what you do in life, whether it's a career, whether it's a relationship, solving problems, the best thing you could do for yourself is try your best not to complain, which we will because we're humans. Everyone complains. Even the most stoic people I've ever heard today, Ryan Holiday complains a lot. I can complain. I'm a human being. We do it, right? We have a bunch of hard days in our lives and, things go wrong. And like I just had to leave the house and it's annoying, but trying your best to work on that. It's a never-ending process. That's how I go about solving problems. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. Don't forget webinars, 8:30 p.m. UK time on Tuesdays. They are a lot of fun. The one-to-one slots are filled to the brim, but we are finding ways to fit people in there. It is a mission of ours. We love it. Thank you again, as always, and enjoy the rest of your day.